I give up. Yes, Hickok 45 here, your internet shooting companion, coming to you from the beautiful hills of beautiful? Well, the hills of Tennessee, yes, the home of 22 Plinkster. I could almost fire a round and land on his roof. Yeah, he's a neighbor. Yeah, that's pretty lame, isn't it? When you have, and you admit it, that you have 22 Plinkster as a neighbor. Well, you know, when you live in a country, a neighbor is a neighbor, even if they're 5 miles away or 10 miles away. Right? It's a little different than Manhattan, where you wouldn't call somebody your neighbor unless they were in the next apartment, probably, right? So anyway, yeah, here we are, another Sunday, and we're talking about the 11th, getting close to good old Christmas time for most people who observe, celebrate Christmas, right? Is it most? Not on the planet, I guess, but most in the United States at least observe it, celebrate to some extent, right? And for others, it's extremely important, and they're very fervent about Christmas. Then there's people all over the planet, millions, billions, I guess, who couldn't care less. I don't know. This is the way of the world. But most of us here in the United States, we enjoy Christmas time. Yeah, we really do. This is winter in Tennessee. I was thinking all this week. This week has not been a problem trying to figure out which day is not too cold to come out and shoot, or which day is the best day to enjoy some little shooting, and busy with you all, the quiet bunch on the other side of the camera. Well, to calm it, start rolling, right? Then you don't have to be quiet. But it's been finding a dry time. Well, not dry, just non-raining. There's a difference. You know, I don't mind being wet. I could kind of watch walking around these. I mean, it's just done nothing but rain all week. And just looking for a time when it's not actually raining has been a little bit of a challenge. You know, the temperature's not bad at all, really. So you know, that's okay. I'll take the temperatures. I really don't like. Yeah, I'm terrible. Right now, obviously, we need rain. We need water to come out of the sky, don't we? Well, it starts in the ground, goes up, comes back down. I learned that in science class. But yeah, it makes a muddy mess, and just not as much, not as enjoyable for me around the place. I enjoy my 40 acres. It's a recreational site for me to hike and shoot and bike and tractor and all that kind of thing. And I'd rather it be dry, tell you the truth. So I've always said, as long as we have enough rain for the farmers and the trees and everything, that's enough. Stop it. That's what's so funny about when we do a barrel shoot or something, or we shoot a bucket of water or whatever. You'll see occasionally someone, yeah, wasting water. People don't have water to drink. You know, and yeah, well, you know, you see that watermelons, pumpkins too, don't you? You know, and I often, if I see one of those, I'll admire, look, hey, come and get all the water you want. We're in Tennessee. We're not in the Sahara Desert. We're not in wherever around the globe that does not get enough water falling out of the sky. You know, that ain't us. Sorry. You might have a shortage of those brown things on the ground. No, not the worms or the droppings, those leaves, right? You may not have many of those around and wish you had more. Well, we have plenty. Come and help yourself. Yeah. Newsflash, different parts of the world have an abundance of certain things that others don't. And some have shortages that others don't. You might have way more sand, S-A-N-D, than you need, right? You know, and you know, if I saw you in a video, I don't know, throwing sand in the ocean or doing something that would damage that sand, taking it away or something, a jar of that sand, I might give you a hard time because there are people in Tennessee who can't find sand. They have to buy sand at the hardware store. Okay, I promise I've not been drinking. Now, good to see you all on this Sunday. Guess what I have out here? I always put it in the description what firearms I'm plinking with, so you might already know it's the Tikka T3x. Yes, many of you have requested it. Have I brought this out? I was thinking I did. Like the week that it came in. It's been in for a few weeks. I've been shooting it. I guess I didn't. If I did, I'm sorry. I don't think I did. I know about 2 or 3 different weeks I was going to bring it out and then did not. Brought something else out. I just, passed on it at the time. But I've had little requests over the years to get a Tikka because I like the Seikos, and so I did finally got around to it. As usual, I finally get around to stuff, and I'm a little not reluctant. It's just I'm a little slower to get hunting rifles. Done several, and I own several you could classify as hunting rifles, I guess. I have a Model 70. I have a Model 7. No, I mean, as far as a pure hunting rifle, I guess the Model 70. What am I forgetting? Well, the Seiko Bavarian, I guess, the hunting rifle. So I don't have an array of hunting rifles like some of you might. But I have a lot of rifles. The reason I was having to think about that, I have a lot of good rifles that would be great hunting rifles. I have a lot of bolt-action rifles. Hopefully you've seen the video, the last bolt-action I'd ever sell. And I guess any of those would be a great hunting rifle, am I right? But as far as just a pure modern hunting rifle, I since I don't shoot groups and bench rest at 300 yards and with scopes generally and that kind of thing much at all. I just don't think about reviewing, quote unquote, like hunting rifles like somebody might do that's a hunter, a real hunter, and puts these things on a bench somewhere and shows what they'll do with certain ammo at 100 yards, at 300 yards, at 1,000 yards, and that sort of thing. I don't have that kind of distance, and as I've said many times, I don't necessarily enjoy shooting groups, bench resting anyway. But I do appreciate and enjoy a fine rifle. And even if I do just stand and shoot them, because that's what I'd be doing if Grizz was after me, probably, right? Or running and shooting from behind my back. But anyway, the Tikka, I just went to Bud's site and grabbed one, and let's see, the T3X, and there are different configurations. The T3X, I guess, is going to look kind of like this. It's got these interchangeable grips and things like that. It's polymer stock. Definitely not a cheap feeling gun, though. Polymer doesn't mean cheap. I know some people think that's synonymous with cheap. I oiled it with Ballistol, whom we appreciate. And I haven't put Talon grips on it yet, but I might. We appreciate them too. The gunsmithing I did was I put the suppressor on it and I put the scope on it. Does that qualify as gunsmithing? For me, probably does, right? Yeah. Okay, so anyway, that's a Tikka T3X. And I like it. Yeah, I do. You'll see a couple of videos with it down the road and whenever. I like it. I put a scope on it instead of a red dot. Now, I bought this, a few years ago. It's a Leupold VX3i 3.5 by 10, 40 millimeter scope. I just needed a scope like I did and do a red dot. A good scope, a good red dot to just pop on various rifles when I get one. Because so many rifles like this and others don't have sights. They don't come with sights, most of them. So you got to put something on them, and they may come with a Picatinny rail, which is great. And that's one reason I got this particular model, had the rail, so I knew I could just pop my scope on there or a red dot and go. Otherwise, I'd just be estimating where I'm shooting, right? So I like it. Good shooter. And I shot it with and without the suppressor. I just thought I'd put it on today. I get a more quiet time. It's like quietly shot. Well, it's not quiet because it's a I didn't even say it's a 6.5 Creedmoor. It's in the description. But I quietly knocked down that plate again. I just went over there before you all got here, had everything set up, and I went over there. It was lying on the ground like it is now, and got my wire cutters and pliers, and I have all that with me in my four-wheeler, and I went over there and worked on that for about 20 minutes, and another one, the Buffalo, same thing. And I mean, it was kind of barely there. I'm jury rigging it, you know. Shooting range is a different sort of proposition. You know, you're in the process always of destroying your targets or whatever, especially with rifle targets. And so you're always building them back and hanging them again and that kind of thing. And I use the shepherd's hooks, you know, and you occasionally shoot one off with a rifle because they're not AR-500 steel. Imagine that. I don't think Walmart sells shepherd's hooks, plant hangers. They think they're plant hangers in AR-500, you know, steel. You know, it'd be $500. And that's okay. It doesn't happen very often, so be it. But you know, I thought I had that thing. That was a surprise. I really wired it better than I needed to, is what I thought when I was over there. Okay. But anyway, I got one red one. Let me take a few more shots with it. All right. And then I brought also I've had this out filing a little bit lately, my Model 66-1. Yeah, short-barreled 357 Magnum. So I want to shoot that a little bit, get it dirty. Yeah. So 6.5 Creedmoor, big I say big, it's popular. It's really gotten popular, hasn't it? The 6.5 Creedmoor. It's based on a 308 case, right? Neck down. And a lot of people really like it, and then some people just they're tired of hearing about it. I've seen that and heard that. I don't know. I'm kind of ambivalent. I think it's pretty cool because it's a lot like the Swedish round, you know, that I like so much. And so I'm bound to like it. Okay. I don't know. I don't own a rifle that's chambered in it. I might sometime. I don't know. I mean, the ballistics. I think it's hard to argue with it. It's a great round. I think people have discovered that for most applications, really. I mean, target shooting, long range, even hunting. Anyway, if you do not have, say, a bolt action rifle like this yet, or an AR, and you're looking for something for, you know, shooting kind of long range maybe, and hunting, different things. I'm sure you've at least considered it. You might have rejected it, but you might also consider it. You're kind of looking at 308 or 270 or this and others. And again, just like with handguns, we obsess a little too much over all that, right? For most people. Now, some people don't obsess too much because they go to the long range, and they're shooting at 800 yards, and they're hand loading and weighing their cases and weighing they're scientists. They got a white lab coat on, at the range, and they're trying to, shoot, groups the size of a dime at 1,000 yards or whatever they're doing. And so their whole hobby is obsessing. So, we won't make fun of them. But the average hunter and the average plinker like me, if I'm spending too much time weighing all the pros and cons, between this cartridge and 308 or 270, and I'm wasting my time really. And the longest shot I'm taking at a deer or something is, across the hollow. Just get something that works. So don't worry about it. Get something you like. It doesn't have to be a 30-30 is fine. Anything, a 44 Magnum, 8mm Mauser. Lots of things will work in this part of the country. I probably have, who knows, 20 different rifles or more than that, handguns, but 20 different rifles. It'd be great deer guns in this part of the country. If I was a deer hunter, my gosh, more than that. Any one of my muzzle loaders, any of my military bolt action rifles, any of my lever guns, they'll all be fine, right? Unless maybe 22 long rifle. It's just nothing to obsess that much over. But now if you live further west or you're taking shots at 200 yards and 300 yards and that sort of thing, it's a little different, huh? So that's my lecture. All that I didn't mean to get into. It's almost Christmas. I hope you're ready again, if you get ready for it. It's kind of a happy time, you know, even if you don't observe it. It's kind of the lights and Santa all around, all that kind of thing. It's kind of cool. And yeah, I almost forgot. I went to the Civil War show last weekend in Franklin, Tennessee, and that was great. You can imagine I would enjoy that, right? Because I have rifles that were actually muskets, that were rifle muskets that were actually used in the Civil War. In fact, I bought at least one of them right there at that show one year. And I've gone enough times now, and I also, I guess it was the week before that, I went to the Tennessee Military Collectors Association show in Franklin. And you see a lot of the same people, you know, set up at those shows. And just interesting if you like historic firearms, you like firearms at all. Just they're cool events. And you know, it's not, if you have a Civil War show, for example, taking place in your neighborhood, it's not just Civil War stuff. You know, there were World War II items and firearms and bayonets and different things. Mostly, you know, 1800s kinds of things, but a lot of variety. Can I shoot this rifle again? Knock down some more targets, destroy my range. All right, well, I like this, like my Bavarian Model 85 Seiko. It's got a big bolt that, I mean, you can just work that thing so simply. I love it. See that red bolt? It's a smooth operator, no doubt about it. Yeah, it's designed for bowling. How about that gallon jug of water? Did you hear that? I'm gonna put one on the Buffalo. Wow. And there's a little piece of cinder over there on the lower left, under that little ramp. Got him. You know, I don't shoot that little ram with a rifle. You probably wonder, why don't you shoot that? You might not even be able to tell it's a ram. It's on the left, straight down low. It's a swinger. It's an old target I've had a long time. And it's not hardened steel at all, and it's only like 3/8. This might even go through it. You know? So it's mainly for handguns, and it's still sitting over there. If I'm out here with a 45 or a 44 mag or something from shooting from up here, especially a rifle, you know, might shoot at it or hit it, but it would not withstand, you know, really high-powered rifle fire. It's the early days of the range. In fact, that's one of the first targets I had a fellow make for me when I moved out here. That stand weighed about 200 pounds. I don't know why. He had some metal. Yeah, that'd be good. That'd be perfect. You know, won't shoot it up. You know, and I wasn't really thinking. It's really heavy and hard to move around. I mean, it's almost a two-man job just to move that thing. And it's really just that thing sitting down on the top. And I didn't need anything that heavy. I was dumb. Like, I'm going to shoot it up. If you're shooting at something on a stand like that and you're hitting the stand, you're either a really bad shot or you're too far away or something. You know, so you know, the reason I hit the actual plant hanger sometimes is usually directly behind the target. You know, if you shoot high or low, you could hit them. But I don't know why I had that thing made like that. Anyway, such is life. Don't forget John's comedy. He'll be at Zany's in Nashville on the, well, let's see. Trying to decide. Yeah, be the 13th and the 18th. Yeah, I'm going on the 18th, and maybe the 13th. I don't know. And Huntsville on the 15th through the 17th hosting. So at Zany's, both. No, in Huntsville it's Stand Up Live. I knew that. So anyway, make sure my phone is on or down. That reminds me, why do people, I saw something on the news talking about their iPhone, you know, like it's like the Kleenex or Xerox machine, you know, whether it's a Xerox or it's Kleenex or not, we tend to call it that. Coca-Cola, I'm gonna go get a Coke. Well, you're not gonna get a Coke, right? How did iPhone get that? I don't get that, because it seems like to me I've never had an iPhone. I've always been on Android phones. So it's like a Samsung or a LG or this one's a Google phone. You know, it's not an iPhone. So it's weird. It's like driving a Chevy and talking about your car as a Ford or something. But anyway, I've just noticed that recently. Yeah. So I guess you saw the. Let me load this thing up. The short with the briefcase HK. Oh, that was fun, and you'll see more on that. Thankfully, again, to silencercentral.com, belongs to them, and just like the Glock 18, and that is cool. That's a real H&K made briefcase, you know, and of course H&K, well, it's MP5K, yeah, made by H&K. So pretty pretty neat. It was funny. I saw a lot of comments about how good thing you didn't have it turned around the wrong way. I mean, that has seemed to be a common concern, that that you could turn that the wrong way. Yeah, shoot yourself or something with that briefcase. Well, you'd have to be a total moron to do that. It'd be like saying, oh man, you better have that pistol pointed the right way or you could shoot yourself. Yeah, that's right, but you would be a total moron if you did that, right? Or you're doing it on purpose, okay? The thing has the triggers on the handle, and you got to hold it in your thumb, deactivate the safety and pull the trigger at the same time, and the barrel is clear where it comes out up here. And so, you know, I don't know, if you turn that thing around, I don't know, you'd be trying to manipulate all that with your left hand, which you couldn't even do with either hand, and, you know, it's just, duh, you know. Again, people haven't seen one, so it looks like just a standard briefcase that maybe you could do that, but, you know, the handle needs to be aimed the right ways. You use the trigger, and it's on just one side and all that kind of thing. But interesting little piece of CIA material, or yeah, CIA, FBI, whatever. Just interesting. You do have to be careful. It's caution. You're cautioning directions on those things. If you're just carrying, it's not like you just could be carrying it and start and pull it. You could pull the trigger if you wanted, intentionally. But the thing about the recoil of it, it's gonna end up shooting your foot or the ground. You know, it's not like you just hold it there and machine gun out there wherever you want to, unless it were shooting 22s or something. You know, no recoil at all. Maybe, I don't know, because it's just going to naturally go back a little bit, and then you're just going to be putting holes in the ground or your foot or leg or something. So you're supposed to actually put it against your body, you know, so like that, like I did. You know, I was sitting, but just like that. So, and again, that was just all in fun, of course. 2-liter destruction as usual. I'm a pro at that. Okay, let's see if I can be a pro at shooting this thing. Let's shoot that paper. All right. My smoky hand loads. Click. We're empty. That is one of the coolest little revolvers I own, I think. And I'm not sure what it is about. The barrel is not long enough to be ideal in a lot of ways. You know, 3 is ideal. The little 65 I have with the 3-inch bull barrel is probably the ideal little gun like this, but I don't know, just something so cool about that configuration. And of course, it's just fine. It's long enough, and I just really like that. It is a sweet revolver. In fact, so sweet, I'm going to shoot it again. Yeah, let's put some more bullets in it. All right. Pretty cool, huh? Hard to beat 357 Magnum. We got the old and the new. 357 Magnum has been around since 1935. And 6.5 Creedmoor, what, 10 years or something? It's not that old. Now these are Magnums I'm putting in it. They are Magnums, yeah. Well, I just had a haunting thought that I wasn't recording. That would have been bad. All right. All right, now these are going to sting a little bit. This is a little gun. Plus, it's going to be loud. Boom, what did I tell you? All right. Quit worrying about the recoil and hit the target. See, there you go. You gotta be careful. You're thinking about the sting and the recoil, and you could miss something pretty close if you're not careful. That's why you want to shoot. I mean, I gotta make up for that. I haven't shot it for a while. You have to shoot what you're going to carry, and let's put forward and make sure you're ready for it. Okay. Gotta prove that was a dumb thing to do. Miss that easily. Although it's easy to miss, with a handgun. As you know, it really is. I've told the story of being at it was a USPSA type match before it was sanctioned one time. This was in the 80s. It was one of my first matches, probably 88 or something. I'd ever tried and done that. And it had a few matches, and I was playing with it and beginning to have some fun doing that. And this course of fire, I've told this somewhere, had a pepper popper, full-size pepper popper. They're like good size, okay? And you're supposed to have those things out at, I think, 11 yards, whatever the ruling is on that. This was actually closer. I mean, it may have been 8 or 9 yards. It's too close, really. Well, you started in this box, and you were to draw and hit it, and then go past it that direction, and the rest of the scenarios. It was a long scenario, lots of rounds and everything, before you finished somewhere else. Well, I'll tell you, you'd be surprised how many people missed that popper, because that's what started. You couldn't leave the box until you hit the popper. Like if you missed it, you had to come back and hit it, And so many people drew their guns and missed that popper, because you're thinking ahead, and it's so simple. It's right there, and the hard part's the rest of the course. That's the easy part. Do boom, bang. No, including me. You just missed it. So let that be a lesson. It's really easy to miss. It really is. If you shot handguns much, you know what I'm talking about. It's just really easy. If you have not shot a handgun, I say this all the time, people just don't realize the difficulty of it. Like shooting a basketball. If you've never shot a basketball, you've seen somebody go out on a court and they've never shot one before. You could give them the ball and put them at whatever, 3 feet or 5 feet or in the middle of the lane, anywhere, and so you take a couple of shots, and they're probably not going to hit. Something that's just automatic for anybody with experience, right? Handgun is just kind of like that, especially centerfire handgun. I mean, you could, that plate I was missing there, you could give somebody that's never shot a handgun and give them this gun or anything and say, take all the time you want and hit that. They may empty the gun and not hit it, and it's not because they're a total dork. It's just a different kind of skill. And you got the recoil, you got the blast they know is coming, and they're probably flinching like crazy if they've never shot. One of the problems I was having is shooting with one hand with all that stuff, the blast and the recoil, knowing it was coming, and I was just shooting with one hand on top of that. But I mean, it's hard, isn't it? Many of you are right now in the process of getting into shooting and learning to shoot. So don't be discouraged. It is not easy. It's not easy. Those of us that just shoot all the time and have for 50 years, we make it look easy sometimes, but let that be a lesson to you. It's not. It's so easy to miss. You got to really be focused all the time, and then you still might miss. Like I guess I wasn't too focused for one thing. So anyway, can I shoot this thing some more? Let's see if I have any more. This holds 10 rounds. There's one left. Let me put another one in. There's an empty under the firing pin, of course. I never lay a gun down. It's hot. I mean, this is rare ever to lay one down if it's hot. You'll see me in a video occasionally. If I'm testing, comparing or something, I'll lay one down. Okay, that's hot. I'm going to lay it there. It's pouring down rain. I'm going to pick it up right away and shoot or something like that. But I rarely do that. But I often will do what I'm doing here, as I've said before, with a lever gun or bolt gun. If I know I'm not going to shoot it right away, but I'm going to shoot it pretty soon. I just don't shoot. Don't work the action. Leave the empty under there, and as long as you're sure that's what you got, you know. Okay. All right. So a couple more in that. It's a nice, the detachable mag. You can put 10 rounds in if you want. All right. Let's jack out that empty, and let's pop the old gong. Have we done that yet? It's pretty hard. Yeah. I like it. I likes it. Oh man, I just blew up two liters with one bullet. Didn't really want to do that, but I did on the last round. Both orange ones bit the dust. I could learn to like that. That is a nice rifle. It really is. I love that big bolt handle and the way it operates. Feels good. I like the detachable magazine. You know, some bolt action rifles are somewhat attractive to me. And you know, it's silly to be a capacity nerd about on a bolt action rifle, I guess. They're hunting rifles, so you don't need 30 round mag, right? Because they are hunting rifles, you know, unlike what the anti-gunners do. You know, well, why do you need a 30 round magazine to hunt deer? You know? But with these kinds of rifles, it's primarily a hunting rifle. Yeah, I shouldn't obsess over capacity, but I do like to get, because I'm just a shooter. Not a hunter. I do like to get 5 or 6 or 7 rounds in one. It's kind of nice. And I still wouldn't mind having a 338 Win Mag. And so many of them just hold like 3 rounds or something, or 2+1 or whatever. And I don't know, because I'm just a plinker. It'd be fun to have, you know, a gun like this. This holds 10. And this suits me better, just because I'm going to plink with it more so than hunt. And 10 rounds, you know, just have to plink around a little bit with a big, powerful cartridge like this. You know, it's not a modern sporting rifle, an AR or anything. And I don't know, maybe they make one of these in a 338 Win Mag, but a rifle like this in that caliber might be interesting. This caliber would be interesting to me. So anyway, I like that 10 round mag. It's kind of nice. You know, plink around. I kind of like having a scope on one. That's one deficiency or one gap in my, I guess my collection, my shooting adventures, more or less. Tractor. I live in the country. Do I have a rifle? I don't with a scope on it like this, unless I get one like this on loan and put my scope on it or something. I just don't have a rifle at the house in a safe anywhere with a scope on it. Red dots, but not a scope. It's kind of neat to have a scope. So I don't know. It's something I might remedy someday. Get a rifle and a caliber. And this would make a lot of sense, wouldn't it? If I got a 338, I'd just soon not have a scope or red dot or anything. Probably just regular leaf sights on it, you know. And in fact, we did a 338. What was it? Ruger Scout rifle or something. And it had, it had sights, metal sights on it, I think. So I don't know, something like that maybe sometime. Like I really need a 338 Win Mag. I just have a weakness for big bullets, big cartridges, I have to say. So anything else you want to know? What about it? Gosh, I don't know. How about advice? Any advice for young whippersnappers? Probably not. Well, just to follow up on last week, I was talking about, in 5 years, when you look back on yourself, what will you be able to point out as your accomplishments? What habits have you broken? What new things have you done? Have you completed any more schooling, a degree? What have you done? Things that you would like to do right now, you need to do. Which of those things will you have done? I think that's a good question to ask ourselves, and I need to ask myself the same thing. Are you going to have the barn cleaned out by next 5 years? What books will you have read? I think that's a good question to ask. What books will you have read? Will you have improved your mind? Will you have expanded your mind any? I sound like a hippie, right? Will you have expanded your mind any and become a little more enlightened maybe than you are now? And I don't mean woke. That's kind of the opposite of enlightenment and intelligence and perception and all that kind of thing. I mean truly enlightened, seeing things more clearly, understanding the world maybe a little bit better than you do now. There's a bug on the lens. Okay. Read some Shakespeare, read some Emerson, read some good books, read some fluff, whatever, but also maybe read something with some depth. Plus, there's so many great lectures, on YouTube. My gosh, unbelievable stuff. To just whoever you like, and on any topic you like, whether it's Jordan Peterson or someone who disagrees with him. Just all kinds of really intelligent people post on YouTube. And you can learn a lot. You really can. Take advantage of big tech. They're out to control our lives, it seems like, right? All the Twitter stuff going on, and we're learning a lot about that now, aren't we? How big tech and government agencies work together. Scary stuff, how we're influenced. It really is. We need to be aware of that. Speaking of enlightenment, you need to really study that. You may hate the news, but we all need to really look at that and exactly what has been done there and who has tried to do what, just so that we're more aware of what influences are out there affecting us, or at least trying to affect us. If we use those services, like Twitter or Facebook or whatever, just be aware. What are we getting from those platforms? What are we not getting? How are we being influenced when we don't even realize it? And who is responsible for that? And what sorts of influence and all that kind of thing. We need to be really educated. I think we really need to be highly informed and educated to survive in society today. We should really do, because they're all out there, big pharma and big food and big government and big everything, with so much influence, and they have something to gain. There's an agenda. Out there, really, to have you obediently wearing a mask or whatever, getting medicines shot into your body. There's an obedience factor there, whether it's actually useful or not. And there's a control factor, and there's somebody has something to gain from it. Maybe it's just billions of dollars selling some of that stuff or whatever. So it's a crazy society now for us to have to negotiate, or to kind of negotiate our way through, and figure out what makes sense and what doesn't. Things that didn't really face me when I was 10 or 20. I mean, the usual things, deciding, making decisions, and figuring out things, but it is different now, boy. We're slapped in the face with all of the influences, every day, whether it's on our social media sites or the news or just whatever it might be. So anyway, we got to be smart about all that. Be educated, okay? Be educated about it, and don't take anything on face value. You think through it and study it and research it. Don't be just another drone that's agreeing with your group on everything, whatever your buddy thinks is true. You know. So anyway, that's my advice. Be a thinker. Be a thinker, and don't take the contrarian view just to be contrary, to be cool, to feel smarter than other people. But do consider the contrarian view on most things, because it might be the smart view. It might not, but it might very well be. Okay, the road less taken. Okay, that's enough on that. I don't have any more advice. So, what should I shoot? How about this baby again? I like this thing. Yeah, man. I'm really pleased, even though it's wet. You almost need my waders, my swimsuit, just to move around today. It is nice having warmer temperatures. Okay, let's pop that plate. All right. I want to get even with it for making me miss. It was the plate's fault. It wasn't my fault. It was the plate's fault that I had trouble hitting it. Never my fault, right? Always, that's some more advice for young people or old people. Always blame the gun or the ammo. No, don't ever do that. Don't ever do that, because it's rarely the problem. Unless you're that person in the long white lab coat, on the bench rest shooting at 1,000 yards. Now, those people that have done that for a while, they know whether it's the ammo or the gun, or because they have seen the difference between firearms. They could take this rifle and some of their rifles and various ammo, and they could tell us scientifically about the accuracy of this rifle as compared with some others, because they've charted the groups and they do that regularly, and it might just be a little bit of difference, maybe a 1/4 inch group versus a 1/2 inch group, or a 2 inch group at 1,000 yards versus an 1.5 inch group, but they could probably tell you how it's going to group, and they could probably shoot it well, right? That's what they do. Get down on that bench rest and get locked in and shoot those groups, test the accuracy with various rounds. And from what I have heard and read, the 6.5 Creedmoor is an accurate round. It's a great round at long range, and it's one of the good ones. Whether you hear so much about it, you're sick of it or not, I think it's one of the better rounds. In fact, I'm going to take a couple more shots with it, can I? Yeah. So this thing is threaded. That's nice. One thing that's cool about it too, like most modern rifles like this, you take the thread protector, you almost don't notice it. In fact, one rifle we didn't, and didn't even know it was threaded. It doesn't detract from the appearance of the rifle. Like, you may never have an intention of putting a suppressor on a hunting rifle you get. But it's in some ways it's kind of a why not. I wouldn't steer myself away from one just because it's threaded, because you never know, and it doesn't really detract from the appearance of the firearm. So it's kind of a why not. And again, if you're kind of a new shooter, new to suppressors and all that kind of thing, in a rifle like this, it's not going to be shooting silently, right, with this kind of velocity. But so many people use them hunting and in battle and everything else, because they dampen the sound, and they don't quiet it down, but they do dampen it, and that's kind of nice. Like this does. I don't know. I haven't shot with my ears raw, but with my ears in, it sounds like it's suppressed. It sounds like, well, it is suppressed, but it sounds like quiet almost. So that's kind of nice. I don't have to worry, okay, got my ears in tight. In fact, it wouldn't hurt if I didn't have my ears in. If I just forgot them, it wouldn't hurt, I don't think. But it's best to have them in. Whereas if it were a .45 caliber and I was shooting you know, rounds that were 800 feet per second or something, then it would be pretty quiet, wouldn't it? Well, or even if it was 30 caliber, you know, shooting, you know, slow rounds, it'd be pretty quiet. That's the way it goes. Subsonic. I think subsonic means slower than the speed of sound. Is that right? I wish I hadn't shot my target. Oh, this is one of my favorite red plates over there. I'm gonna get that rascal hung up so he won't fall here. Okay. Sure we're on tight. Yep. All right. There's a couple of pins here that need to be hit. Yeah. Sweet. Oh, I got another one. I didn't know I had put so many in there. Yeah, you can also hear the steel sounds are different when you got the suppress. Obviously they are, but with ears in, it's just that everything is different. Just let that say it. Everything is different. The sound of the round, the sound of the steel. It's kind of cool. So anyway, yeah, I appreciate Silencer Central furnishing that, and you know, all the people that help us out. We don't deserve it, but we'll take it. Yeah, we don't deserve it. So I hope you have a great, you know, holiday season, and you know, you maybe do something nice for somebody. Maybe somebody will do something nice for you, and you know, enjoy the lights and all the Santa Clauses and everything. It's a neat time of year. It's fun to just drive around sometimes and look at the lights. My grandson was out a week or so ago. We went over to a light show. I guess those are pretty popular now. You may have one in your area. It was at the Wilson County Fairgrounds, I guess, and which is east of Nashville. And they had one with this drive-through. You know, I mean, it was pretty involved. It's very involved. It took over 30 minutes to get through it, driving slowly without stopping, really. And that's after you got to it. There was a long line of at least 30 minutes just getting to it. People, I mean, those are really popular. And if it weren't for him, I don't know if I would go through it, but it's pretty interesting. So, you know, when you have grandkids or kids, you do things that you enjoy things you wouldn't normally enjoy, maybe. It's the way it is, you know. And, you know, if you're ever out and you see somebody with their kids or their grandkids being silly, you know, if you never had kids, you don't maybe understand it, you know. You just think they're foolish, or the parents are so foolish, or whatever it might be, you know. But you'll see when you have kids, and if you have kids, you already know what I'm talking about. You do things, and I see it, and I know exactly why Dad, who is 40 years old, is wearing a pink ribbon on his ear, or whatever it is, or he's carrying a pink teddy bear, or he's doing something for his daughter, you know, that he knows she would get a kick out of, or his son, or whatever it might be, you know, you just do, or a sticker on their car, or whatever it might be. You have to be there, yeah. And I remember those days before I had children. You grow weary of people saying that. Well, you'll understand when you have kids. You'll understand, and whatever. And you also think your friends or the people you work with or whatever, they just dote too much on their kids, and they might. Yeah, we have a lot of spoiled kids out there, right? But I'm not, you know, talking about that. But you think, oh, they think too much about their kids. They seem to be focused on all those kids, you know, and all that. And if you don't have kids, you're on a different planet. It's just that simple. And you'll understand when you have them, if you have them. That's all you can say about that. It's not one of those deals where when someone says to you, you'll understand when you have kids. They're not being a smart aleck, and it's true. Let's put it that way. It is true. Y'all that have kids know what I'm talking about, or grandkids, you know exactly what I'm saying. You remember how clueless or naive you were before you had kids, and you went through the same things that you just thought people were, oh, give me a break. I'm tired of hearing about your kids or what they did or this and that, whatever. You know, even if you like kids, you know, it's just closest I can come to it. And I'm not saying kids are like dogs, okay, but you know, you might have had the same feeling. For those of you who don't have any plans to have kids or whatever, and maybe you didn't have plans to have a dog, and you were annoyed by other people's dogs and how they were, you know, just too enamored with them or whatever it is, and you finally got a dog yourself or a cat, you know, a puppy or whatever, and all of a sudden you are just like your friends, except worse, right? And same with kids. Once you have the kids, you're worse than the people that you used to make fun of. You know, it's just the way it goes. Yeah, you got to have the experience. You have to be there. Yeah, and that's something we all need to remember, isn't it? We really can't relate to somebody else's experience. We can try. We can try. We're all human. Well, you all, I'm not sure I am. But we can try to relate to somebody else and try to identify with what their experience is, what it's been like and everything. But we can't really touch it. We just don't know, right? And we need to remember that so that we're not too quick to judge people because we just don't know what people are going through, what they've been through and all that. Does not excuse some of the bad behavior we're seeing, right, at all, but because all of us have had bad times, good times, but in terms of some things, you know what I mean, is we just can't understand totally another human being. We can't, unless we can walk a mile in their shoes, and we can't really do that, right? We can't really do that, so we can try. Yeah, that's a good plan to at least try to walk a mile in people's shoes and try to understand them at least, right? It's the first step. So, enough philosophy, and I'm gonna let you go. I've enjoyed shooting the 6.5 Creedmoor. Glad I brought it out. Glad I had a nice, really it's a fairly nice day for this. It really is. The rain let up for a few hours here, and I got to sling some 38s, actually 357 Magnum, but the bullets are 38 caliber, okay? And out of one of my favorite little handguns, the Model 66. And before I let you go, you know what, I'm going to fire a couple more just to make sure those last 6 I fired were my hand loads. And I like to make sure there's no leading. I have a video on this. So here we go. Magnums. Magnums. Woo. So that'll make it easier to clean. Now you all don't know because you're never here when I wrap up. I turn the camera up, but what I do, first thing I do is whatever I've been shooting, I take the good old battle style juice and I spray the gun. I don't know if you can see me, and I just spray it, get it in the barrel, anywhere that's it's cruddy. If you can see that, yeah. And it's one of the things I've always done with whatever cleaner I was using, is get some on there, you know, and then as I'm packing up things and getting it back over to my shed and everything where I clean guns, you know, it's had time to soak, and I usually have paper towel, get it on everything. So you know that's great. Get some of that in the chamber, and the time I get over there, it'll be in a lot better shape when I actually start cleaning it. This might still be kind of warm. It's not too bad. I'll usually, I've noticed just little tips with suppressors. Have you ever been putting on a suppressor, well, or a bolt or anything like this, and you can't get it started, or you can't get it, well, it's usually getting started is the issue. I have discovered, it's weird, I'm pretty good with bolts and nuts and things. I'm not a klutz, But sometimes when you've got it laid down and you're trying to get it at the right angles, I don't know, it's just harder than it ought to be. It's weird. Then you turn it up like this, let gravity be your friend. Just set it up there and start turning, it goes right on. It ain't trouble. So I'll usually do that, take that out. I could take the bolt out. It's like a Mauser, you push the button. Now there's no bolt. And I'll spray a little Malistol in the bore. Same deal. Okay. And I'll put the bolt back in so I don't lose it. This goes back to buds. Oh, I'll also put the thread protector on. I'll shoot those threads with a little shot there. I'm always wary that I'm going to lose the thread protector on some rifle. If it's my rifle, that's one thing. I have to order another one or do something. But if it's one we borrowed from buds and it's going back, and one of you all will end up with it eventually, an e-gunner, I don't want to lose a part. Okay. So, anyway, that's what I do after all are gone. And this one we're about finished with, so I'll be taking my sight off of it and cleaning it up really well and packing it up, sending it back to buds. Sometime this week. I won't be sending this one anywhere except to my gun safe. My gun safe. I'm sure he's really soaked. Yeah, that's the nice thing about shooting. If any of you have not experienced it, you're brand new. God, I hope you're not brand new. You just tuned in for the first time on a Sunday video with lots of yakking, right? They might, they get smoky and dirty looking and everything, whether it's a black powder gun or not, modern smokeless powder or whatever, but they clean up. Generally speaking, they're going to look exactly like they did when you started, like brand new, clean. And that's the cool thing about a handgun. Don't worry about it getting dirty. Doesn't hurt it a bit. And I've got Civil War rifles that were used in the Civil War. Shoot them, clean them up, and they look just like the day I bought them. Yep. And I plan for them to look that way when I'm gone, and whatever, 20 years, 10 years, 2 years, 15, 20, 30, 40 years. I might live to 140, who knows? So, just take care of them. And, firearms don't, even though it seems like you're hard on them, you're shooting Magnum rounds or whatever you're doing, they might wear over the long term a little bit, but my 44 Magnum Model 29 is just as accurate as it's ever been. And it's coming up on, it's almost 2023. That'll be 49 years I've had that. Bought it new, still just fine. So I'll have to start planning my 50th anniversary, 50-year anniversary next year for that baby. Gosh, that'll be cool. 50 years. Hope you have the same experience. Hope you're lucky enough, some of you have maybe, where you bought a really cool gun that you really like, you've always liked, you've always fired it, and have always enjoyed it every time you fired it, brought it out for 50 years. That's something to be said, a lot of people don't even live that long, much less walk into a gun show or gun shop, buy a firearm new that they really like and have been looking for, take it home and shoot it for 50 years. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I'm glad I have been able to. Well, not yet. I'm at 49 almost. Okay, but I'm getting close. So I'll shut up. I get to rambling at the end on it too much. So glad you came out, and we really appreciate your support, you guys, gals, whatever, the loyal supporters that show up on a Sunday, right? I can count on you all to come around, and that's why I continue to come out and do it. As I've said before, it doesn't matter how many people come and watch a Sunday video, as long as enough to get me out here to do it, that's fine. I'll continue doing it. So, and I do, speaking of that, man, every day I see so many people that say they're not subscribed, and we're being someone said we're being blocked. I don't know what they meant by that. I know it seems like that at times, and I don't know whether it is or not. I know that people are just not subscribed and are very perplexed that they're not subscribed because they knew they were, and that kind of thing happens. So anyway, just check it out. You know where we are. Yeah, Hickok45.com or YouTube. You know the handle. So we're easy to find. Easy to find. So I'll see you next week if all goes well. Life is good.